Merry Christmas, everybody. Hope you are doing well.
Today we are reviewing content that was consumed between November 23rd and December 11th, including books, movies, and TV show episodes and concerts. So we have a lot to talk about today.
But first of all, we want to ask what are you most thankful for? And by the time we post this up, share it in our comment section.
We are thankful for our family, our friends, and that everything is coming together for the holiday season. Okay, the first thing we wanted to discuss is the Power Chords Holiday Concert from Firehouse Center for the Arts. The week before Thanksgiving, we went to Laconia. We discovered a new theater company there because our friend Meg King is the choreographer. It's called the Firehouse Center for the Arts, and we attended their holiday concert on November 21st.
And I requested that day because I discovered about that concert through their website. And I asked for a nice hotel stay for my birthday. So thank you to my mom for setting that up in Guilford, New Hampshire.
Our favorite songs from the concert were Holiday Medley, Thank You for the Music, and White Christmas. The next holiday concert we attended was the Good Theater's Holiday Playlist Winter Concert. This was a concert of familiar Christmas carols and like new versions of popular Christmas songs. Our favorite songs were If You're Good, the parody song of If You're Good to Mama by Chicago, all of the group numbers like the quartets, and the duet of All I Want for Christmas Is You. The light display in Boothbay Harbor. So on Saturday, December 6th, we met our friends Amanda, Jen, and Patty from New Hampshire at the Gardens Aglow light display in Boothbay Harbor, which is about an hour from us here in Portland.
You could easily find Booth Bay on Route 1 if you across from if you would take to Wiscasset and then find Route 27.
This is easily going to be a new holiday tradition for us. Next year, I think we should go to the events downtown to see what else that they have to offer, because there's a whole holiday festival in downtown Boothbay that Patty, Amanda, and Jen went to before they met us at the light display. So we are excited to learn more about that Christmas festival next
And
year.
anytime that you are available for a weekend in between Thanksgiving and Christmas, check it out. It might be very fascinating.
For life updates, we had our art opening on Double House Arts on Friday night. This was our art opening for our art show, which was we opened artwork submissions up to the community as well. So this art exhibit does not just include artwork; it um it includes artwork from other people who live in Portland. So we would like to thank all of the community members who submitted stuff to our art show and everybody who attended on Friday night. Um,
And they're still available for pre-ordering until March. So if you didn't get the order in and you'd like to find out, check out the website at doublehouse.com for Maine.
um, Matt and I sell our pieces for between $15 and $20. Um,
And also, that same weekend was the church holiday pageant, which was at the Unitarian Church in Portland. This is a tradition that they do every mid December, and next year they're going to be celebrating their 100th anniversary. So, if you like the story of how baby Jesus was born and you like music, then this is a nice event to attend for every December.
and I was very pleased with the turnout for the pageant, even though the weather was bad yesterday. So thank you to everybody in the community. Not that any of those people will be seeing this video, but thank you to everybody who came to support Matt and everybody else from our church who was part of the pageant.
And thanks for the compliments from the choir, especially from Tony Lacerota, who is in charge of coordination and events, and he complimented how my bass voice really stood out.
The next thing that we wanted to talk about was movie reviews. The first movie that we wanted to talk about is Scrooge. Scrooge is a holiday comedy from
1988.
1988 that stars Bill Murray from Ghostbusters as a very frustrated um TV executive who is in charge of running a Christmas special of A Christmas Carol on TV every year. And I have seen Ghostbusters a couple of times, and I love Bill Murray's character in this movie. I get the fact that this is supposed to be a parody of A Christmas Carol, but I think that Bill Murray's character in this movie was a lot meaner than Ebenezer Scrooge is meant to be, and I didn't really care for his character very much, but I liked his dynamic with I liked Frank's dynamic with Claire, his girlfriend.
But
Uh,
in addition to that, this was a parody of a certain television, what they did for at the time. So, if you know about the Christmas Carol, you probably know about the ghosts of Christmas past, present, and future. And you're probably familiar with God Bless Us Everyone by Tiny Tim. And incidentally, a cameo appearance by Tiny Tim with this special within the movie was none other than 1984 gold medalist Mary Lou Retton in gymnastics.
Sonia watched this movie when she came to visit us on Friday for our art show, and she said that she really enjoyed it and she didn't really have a favorite part. Um,
But then we also saw recently in the movies during Thanksgiving weekend Wicked for Good.
so in case you don't, we're not going to really tell you what happens in the movie because there are spoilers. So if you want a non-spoiler review, we're going to link Mickey Joe Theater's video in the description box below. Um, so there are two new songs in Wicked for Good called "The Girl in the Bubble," which is sung by Glinda, and "No Place Like Home," which is obviously a reference to the line that Dorothy is saying at the end of The Wizard of Oz when she clicks her red slippers together to go back to Kansas.
And incidentally, this is not a spoiler, but in the second Wicked for Good movie, instead of a silhouette like you would see in the musical, there is a real Dorothy in here, and a Tin Man, and Scarecrow, and Cowardly Lion.
So, for those of you not familiar with the musical of Wicked, Fiyero is supposed to be the Scarecrow. Bach is supposed to be the Tin Man, and obviously the Cowardly Lion is still a lion and not a human character. Um,
And now it's time for Jean to update you on what she's been reading.
I didn't finish talking about Wicked. I love the subtle nods to Wizard of Oz as well. Not as a big fan of the spell Alphelba cast on Nessa to make her float, as it can give an overall view that disabilities can be cured. Because, as you guys all know, Nessa Rose, who is Elphaba's younger sister, is in a wheelchair, and in this movie, the second half of the movie takes place like once they're all graduated from college, and by this time Nessa Rose has taken over her dad's job as the governor of Munchkinland because he died. So, okay, yes, now we're going to move on to my book reading updates for my holiday TBR. I'm also going to do a little bit of a progress update for books I'm reading and also talk about a couple of library books that I picked up this morning. Um, The first book I'm reading right now, I'm starting after we make this video, is called Christmas with Frank. This is by one of my new favorite romance authors from last year, Courtney Walsh, who writes non-spicy romances of all types. Previously, from her, I have read The Happy Life of Isadora Bentley, which was recommended to me by Jess and Emmeline at These Lyrics and Lines. The Summer of Yes, and her St. Patrick's Day release from March called My Lucky Charm. I will tell you what this book is about. A second chance with your first crush. Doesn't happen often. For Liam Fisher, that first crush was his next door neighbor, Olive Winterberry. Childhood was lazy summers, treehouse stargazing, and endless games of hide and seek at Pine Creek. The Christmas tree farm has been in Logan's family for generations. When Liam moves away, he and Olive say goodbye the only way they know how, with a fumbling first kiss neither of them has ever forgotten. Even though 12 years the even though 12-year-old promises of keeping in touch feel eternal, life and distance eventually make Olive and Liam practically strangers. 20 years later, Liam's parents announced they're retiring and selling the tree farm. 20 years later, Pine Creek is the last place grown-up Liam wants to inherit this legacy, not on your life. And 20 years later, grown-up Olive is stuck. Her work life is a lot like her love life, floundering. After a humiliating business failure leads to loads of debt, and too many laughable first dates, she is in no hurry to put herself out there again, in business or in romance. When Olive is hired by Liam's parents to rekindle the lost magic of the farm for one final time before it's sold, she sets out to make this last. But Pine Creek Christmas for the town and a very cranky, not so talkative, surprisingly attractive Liam. Part of her mission convinced the crank to fall in love with Christmas. The other part, not fall head over heels in the process. I'm very excited to read this. The next book I picked up at the library this morning is Christmas at the Women's Hotel. I just picked up this novella on the adult fiction shelf. It is 126 pages. I have read a couple of other holiday novellas this year that I really liked. They are called The Christmas Appeal by Janice Hallett, which was 5 stars. The Christmas Guest by Peter Swanson, which was 4.5 stars. And The Mistletoe Mystery, which is lower in this pile, which was 5 stars. And I'll talk about the Mistletoe Mystery in a minute. Christmas at the Byenderwood Hotel means work. For much of the year, employment comes infrequently for Bertamere residents. And during the Advent season, they're in high demand all over the city as holiday window dressers, salesgirls, car stores on 42nd Street, Broadway, usherettes, assistants to the Lincoln Center laundress at the Nutcracker, or off-season security guards walking for Pinkerton at the World's Fair. Catherine explores the possibility of reconnecting with a younger sister moving to New York. Lucienne goes into business for herself, running a strictly social register, telephone order, mail escort agency out of her room, while Mrs. Mossler attempts to solve the mystery of Bertamere's skyrocketing phone bill and frets over Christmas tips for the hotel's few remaining employees. And while the 3 gem thieves who broke into the American Museum of Natural History have recently been apprehended, not all of the stolen jewels have been recovered, and Patricia and Carol must have been behaving strangely recently. Christmas is a season for wonder and mystery, after all. I'm very excited for this one. The next book I'm talking about today is Good Spirits. This is B.K. Borison's holiday release from October 21st. It was a 5-star read for me. This is a retelling of A Christmas Carol, where the ghost of Christmas past hosts haunts a girl named Harriet, who is a people pleaser. So she's not mean like Scrooge. She's just a person who has a lot on her plate and is really stressed out. So I picked this for my friends in Gilmore Girls TBR because Harriet reminds me of Monica. The next holiday new release that I have is Grace and Henry's Holiday Movie Marathon by Matthew Norman. This book came out before Thanksgiving, around the beginning of November, and it's my first book by this author. This book is about 2 widows who get together and watch holiday movies from the time period to Christmas and Thanksgiving. And this is very appropriate for this entertainment blog because we are also reviewing holiday movies too, and a lot of the movies that we like to watch are actually mentioned in this book, such as Elf, A Charlie Brown Christmas, let's let's see what else is mentioned here. The A Christmas Story with National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. So please share in the comments along with your what you are thankful for. What are your favorite holiday movies and holiday TV show episodes? Because we are going to review a couple of holiday TV show episodes in just a little bit. I just need to get through the rest of these books, which won't take long. The next book I read for a holiday book this year on my TBR is Holiday Ever After, which is a standalone holiday novel by the same author who wrote the Maple Hill series. This is set upon. This story is about Clara, who owns a toy store, and Jack, who is a toy maker. And I love the romantic buildup between these two main characters. They're like not really co-workers because he's trying to sell his toy to the toy store and having really trouble with that. So I love the banter between them. It was really good. This got 4 stars. The next book is a book I borrowed from my neighbor next door, Kathleen. It's called Hostel for the Holidays by Erin Hawkins. I have never heard of this author, so thank you, Kathleen, for recommending this book to me. Currently, I am on chapter 15, which is page 121. Now we're at the Mistletoe Motive. This is a mystery. This is a holiday romance book by Chloe Lee. She writes a lot of romances with disability representation in them. Our main female protagonist in this book, Gabby, is autistic, and she and her coworker Jonathan work in a bookstore, and they don't really get along, but they find out that the bookstore is going to go out of business, so they spend this story competing against each other to try to save the bookstore. Um, this is such a sweet romance book, and I really love the dynamic between Gabby and Jonathan, and you should definitely check this out. I gave it 5 stars. The next book is a Legally Blonde inspired holiday romance called "'Tis the Season for Revenge" by Morgan Elizabeth, who also wrote Passenger Princess. So this is obviously, if you're familiar with the movie Legally Blonde with Reese Witherspoon, basically Abby is supposed to be Elle's character, and this focuses on um, the situation at the beginning of the movie where Warner breaks up with her and what leads her to go to Harvard. So basically, Abby is supposed to be Elle, and her boyfriend Richard is supposed to be Warner. I am really enjoying this book. Morgan Elizabeth fast became my new favorite author earlier this year when I read Passenger Princess for the Friends and Gilmore Girls TBR. Currently in this book, I am on page 228, and I'm going to probably finish this tonight. The final Christmas book that I just picked up at the bookstore today is Yours for the Season by Emily Stone. This is my second book that I have read by this author. After reading Love Holly a couple of years ago, I wasn't a big fan of Love Holly, so I really hope I like this book much better. It is. Let's see. Melanie hasn't had a good year. Her work life isn't what she dreamed it would be. Her best friend has moved to the other side of the world, and Finn, the man she was sure was the love of her life, dumped her in front of everyone at her sister's engagement party. So when Finn shows up at Mel's doorstep 2 weeks before Christmas asking if she'll help him, her first instinct is to slam the door in his face or punch him. But he has a proposal. Spend a week of Christmas with him and his family in a vacation cottage in the Scottish Highlands. His mother is obsessed with the idea of a perfect Christmas, and to make this dream come true, Finn told his mother that he and Mel are dating again. All Mel has to do is pretend that they're back together. Mel may hate Finn, but she loves his mom, so she agrees on one condition. At the end of the week, Finn will allow Mel to publicly dump him so that she can get her dignity back, and he experiences the same humiliation that she felt. It's only a week. Mel can pretend to still be in love with Finn for 1 week, surely. But except as the festivities bring her closer than ever to Finn and his family, Mel starts to lose track of what feelings are fake and which ones are for real. I'm very excited to start this. I'm probably going to start it later tonight.
All right, now I think we have some review for the holiday episodes of sitcoms.
Okay, so to the first thing we're gonna do is compare two Thanksgiving Day episodes together. The first one is from Will and Grace. We are focusing our first two TV show episode reviews on the director James Burrows, who directed many shows from the 70s to the 2000s. We are talking specifically today about the Will and Grace episode, Homo for the Holidays, and the Friends episode, the one where Ross got high. Okay, so, the common thread between these two Thanksgiving episodes is the revealing of other people's secrets. In the one where Ross got high, the ultimate secret is that Monica and Chandler are now living together because this episode takes place after Monica and Chandler hook up at Ross's wedding in England. The lead up to the reveal is hysterical, especially with the side comments from Rachel, Phoebe, and Joey. In Homo for the Holidays, Jack has been keeping his sexuality for his mother for years, using both Grace and Karen as a cover-up and claiming that he dated both of them at one point or another. I was happy for Jack that he was able to be open with his mom about being gay. I was less interested in the secret Jack's mother revealed to him, which is about his dad cheating on him. I think wasn't that the secret that
I
mom
think
had?
so.
Okay, I rewatched this episode a couple weeks ago, so I don't remember what the mom's secret was. Overall, I feel that homophobia is handled much better in Will and Grace than it was in Friends because obviously Jack is a gay character and much more likability can be created around his character. Like, so Marta Kaufman said in an interview that was in the commentary on the DVD for one of the seasons of Friends that they wish they could have done without how Chandler's dad, Charles, was transgender because that was not really in good taste. What did you think of like the representation of homophobia in this episode of Will and Grace and also in
Well, Will and Grace, as you said, handled it more diverse, and that's why we gave it a higher rating. So,
and what did you think of the whole thing in the Friends episode where about Chandler and him not wanting to see his dad? That was more situated around like the divorce and the fact that he was still angry at his dad for cheating on his mom. But I think that's a huge part of why he had such a hard time accepting his dad's sexuality was because of.
yeah, I think that had a lot to do with it.
And Ross is also a pretty homophobic character. This is primarily shown in two separate episodes. One is from season 4 when he freaks out about Ben playing with a Barbie doll. And then second is from season 10 when him and Rachel are trying to hire a nanny for Emma. What did you like about the one where Ross got high?
Well, where Ross got high, that really kind of made him feel uncomfortable with situations around the sexual traverse. And when you're away with family, no matter what, for a holiday, that's depressing. And it's almost like when we had your Christmas party this past weekend, and I had so much to go on, and that's why I decided not to go.
Wait, I'm confused. What are you talking about? Like with the.
I'm talking about with when Ross was a little bit uncomfortable and didn't want to be around because of the homophobia compared to
No, you're confusing Ross with Chandler about his dad and not wanting to invite him to the wedding.
Oh, that was the one.
So, in the one where Ross got high, I think the whole drama, the whole thing with that episode is that there's drama that Chandler thinks that Monica and Ross's parents don't like him, and then, like, he ends up pulling them aside and explaining to him that the reason why the parents don't like him is because he threw Chandler under the bus when they were in college, and he blamed him for smoking weed in their dorm room when he was the one smoking, and he didn't want to make himself look bad in front of his parents. So I don't like Ross in this episode either because it shows that he was really not very nice to his friends in the past, and he's really not nice to them in the present either.
Oh, I see what you're getting. But now we made some shepherd's pie not too long ago, and usually when you make shepherd's pie, you get some white potatoes and you make it just like mashed potatoes, a little bit of ground beef and some vegetables. But in this case, for a healthier alternative, we use sweet potato because of a healthier alternative from the new cookbook.
I also like the part in the one where Ross got high where everybody was like pretending to like Rachel's trifle dessert even though she mixed together two different recipes and nobody wanted to. I mean, I wish people had been more honest with her and not her like dance around the fact that they didn't like the dessert. I'm glad that Judy Geller actually said that she hated it because
Mm-hmm.
that way she was able to keep everybody else honest.
Yeah, I would have hated it too, but that's why I suggested the shepherd's pie for other alternatives like that. But now we're going to go on here and mention about two popular or three popular holiday TV episodes. Starting off with The Office.
The Christmas episode of The Office that we watched is called The Christmas Party from season 2. This is where they are having a Yankee swap or a Secret Santa. Well, so I didn't like this episode very much because Michael really confused the idea of a Yankee swap and a Secret Santa. Like he combined two of the things together. And the thing that I didn't like about that was the fact that people made specific presents for individual people that they didn't want to exchange because it was very heartfelt. So I thought Michael was really mean in that episode. Actually, I didn't really like him very much. What
Yeah,
did you?
yeah. If you're doing a holiday swap, it's either one or the other. That's why when Jean has her family Christmas party every year with her family, they could do the Yankee swap, and that should just be on the list because you don't want to confuse somebody you're making for a specific person and just to give it away to someone else.
The next holiday episode we're talking about today is Lizzie McGuire Extreme Xmas. In this episode, they're trying to get ready for the annual holiday parade, and Lizzie is hyper fixated on like getting the perfect holiday parade float together because she's always in competition with Kate, who's the bully. And Kate has this whole big extreme thing going on where she like gets really big speakers and like a person to perform on the float, like it's in the friggin' Macy's Days Parade, and it's only a town Christmas parade. So,
And while that's going on, the rest of the McGuire family has a visitor, one of the elves from Santa, actually. And what he's staying because the pipes of the plumbing thing are broken. So what does Mr. McGuire do, Sam? He decides he wants to contribute to fixing that just for him. And as Jean said, Lizzie was so fixated on the parade, she didn't realize how much that was of importance for family until she actually had a little dream.
so do you think this episode sort of has a connection to It's a Wonderful Life
Not
in a way?
really, not so
With
much.
the whole thing with with like Lizzie having to dream about the parade and like not being grateful for everything that was around her or something. Because that's the impression I got.
Well, it's sort of like when it's in a Wonderful Life if you've never been born, but it's a different topic than I think what would happen if nobody was there in the first place. But in this case, it was Lizzie's dream, and they would see the consequences of not being with family.
Okay.
But also one more thing, Steven Tyler from Aerosmith performed as Santa Claus and as his singing self on the parade at the end of the episode.
Right. The final episode of the final Christmas, the final holiday episode of a TV show that we're talking about today is I Christmas from iCarly. So this is iCarly's take on It's a Wonderful Life. In this episode, Spencer gets like a magnetic Christmas tree for the apartment and it catches fire and it burns all of Carly's Christmas presents, and she basically yells at him and said, "I wish you were born normal." So like the thing that like the version of the It's a Wonderful Life plot is basically instead of George saying he didn't want to be born, it was basically like because how would you describe Spencer?
Well, Spencer, as you are acquainted singing him, he has a kind of an unusual personality, filled with creativity and being the watch for his younger sister Carly. However, his inventions and creativity they go skyrocketing. So in Carly's dream, when she has a ghost find out about her wish of Spencer being normal, it leads to more of sort of the side of Christmas that is more like the typical, but it also leads to other consequences of her friends and other strange situations.
So in the description of this episode, it says this episode combines themes from It's a Wonderful Life, which I was able to pick up on, and The Twilight Zone, which I have never seen. So I don't know how it fits with The Twilight Zone, but I definitely caught the It's a Wonderful Life references.
I did too.
So how would you rank these episodes that we watched?
So first for The Office, we ranked that 6 out of 10, and then for the Elizabeth McGuire episode, I think I had the highest vote on this one, 8 out of 10, because of Steven Tyler and Lizzie's imagination as usual to make it a fun episode to watch. This aired on Disney Channel 23 years to the date, nearly when Gina and I saw this episode at that time earlier this month. And finally, iCarly. I give it the lowest rating because of what Spencer did and what Carly saw in her wish, which made her very upset.
Okay, so for the Will and Grace episode, we gave it 7 out of 10. For the one where Ross got high, we gave it 5 out of 10 because of the whole thing with them not being honest about not liking Rachel's dessert and Ross being a dick about Chandler smoking the weed when he falsely blamed that on him. For The Office, I gave it 4 out of 10. What'd you give it?
I thought I gave it 6 out of 10.
So how would we average
5.
That? 5. Okay. For Lizzie McGuire, 8.
Mm-hmm.
8 for both of us. And for iCarly,
I gave that one 5.
I gave it 6.
Okay, so it's 5.5.
Okay, so our final video. Oh, the second. So this is our final video for 2025, and we hope you all have a great Christmas. The second portion of this entertainment wrap up, which covers December 14th to December 31st, will be out on January 4th. In the meantime, have a safe and happy holiday season, and we will see you next month.
And watch It's a Wonderful Life like we have recently, if you haven't already. Merry Christmas.